You can press record and
I think it's recording.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Holly, you're in charge now. We're listening to you. Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Nadia, again, for inviting me to speak today. And thank you all for joining this Zoom call. Today, I wanted to share with you my personal journey and lessons I learned along the way of how I built a profitable business in a country where I was not able to speak the language, when I was a nobody, and I didn't know anyone at that time. That business started a few years ago, has enabled me to live a comfortable life in any countries in the world I want today. What I'm about to share with you isn't anything you don't already know. Secondly, everything that I'm about to say, you've probably heard it before from people that I can't probably hold a candle next to. But if you have a business idea in mind, or that if you feel like you can be in a better place that would make you happier than where you are now, I hope my story will inspire you to take a chance on you. I want to talk with you about a few lessons I learned along the way. First of all is the importance of commitment. Secondly is the type of people that you would want or need to surround yourself with in order to live the life you want. And the next one is how to do proper market research for your ideas. And number 4 is financial planning. Number 5 is why now it is the best time to start a business. Now, you've probably heard the saying that people do business with people that they like, they know, they trust, and they value. And this is very, very true, especially in business, also in personal relationship, but especially in business. If your business partner or someone that you are wanting to become a business partner with, they don't see you as valuable, they probably will not do business with you. If you don't come across as professional, knowledgeable, and credible with the right skill set to get the job done, you will never be as influential and successful as you would like. So my first point is to address this, how to make yourself become more valuable or become more like of an asset to others and you can do this by constantly developing your knowledge, your skills, and continuously striving to get better, which is again, the first point I was trying to make, that is commitment, the importance of commitment. And in this point, it is commitment to give your best at all the time. And I cannot stress this enough. Even if it's not your business, many of you probably are not working in a business, your own business at the moment, but that you're working in a job. But this habit is very important to develop while you're working, even at the job that you don't like. Now, when you're continuously giving your best, it becomes who you are. Many people are working at jobs that no longer challenge them. And many of them probably get really tired, get sick about thinking even about it. And I have been there. And I would just do just enough so I didn't get fired. And I'm sure many people probably have been at some point in their job, at some point in their life like this, so that you will do just enough so that you don't get fired, nothing more. And you know what I have realized? By doing so, I'm not cheating the company I was working for. I was actually cheating myself. Because operating out of not giving your best by acting out that role of mediocrity for so long, you think it is normal, and that habit will become your identity, and that will be what people see you as. It wasn't good for me, so I changed it, and I don't think it's good for anyone at all. So do not let mediocrity becomes a new normal in your life. So get used to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and continue to challenge yourself to learn something new. to do better, to give more of what you asked to do in business dealings, in relationships, because this will help you build trust amongst other people, and would definitely put you in a better light when you are trying to get a business deal done, or trying to build a new relationship with a new business partner, or just simply new suppliers. And the next one that I wanted to make is about commitment, is that commitment on working on yourself. And I would like to address this in a form of questions. That is that how much time do you spend not working on your job, yeah, working on you? Now, many of you have been here today, so you have made a commitment to attend some seminars. There are many workshops, there's many courses that you can attend to work on yourself. You can also read many books. Actually, in a study showing that top 10% of the income earners on the average reads about 15 books a year. Bill Gates reads about 50 books a year. And I'm not saying that books are important because most CEO and rich people read them. They are important because they can help you see maybe problems from many different angles that people have experienced before. And it is believed that actually many business owners are facing, when they encounter a problem, somebody actually have encountered that problem earlier and have written down the solution. So it has been implemented in a book. So if you like reading books, you probably can find some answers in books by reading them. I'm going to give you a real life example. I barely spoke Italian at that time when I started my business. My business, by the way, is in Italy. And neither did I have the money to hire an interpreter to all the business meeting that I had to go to. So what I did was I used Google Translate and I memorized in advance all the sentences of what I was going to say. And basically I asked them a yes or no question. So it's very easy to understand. It's not something complicated at all. So if they say yes or they no, then okay, I got it. And another thing I did was I paired this technique with my favorite book, and that is on reading body languages, because I didn't speak Italian. I barely spoke it. So the book is called What Everyone is Saying by Joe Navarro. Now I'm not getting paid for this book, though I should, but it's one of my very, very favorite books. As you know, body language is quite universal, and this person who wrote this book, an FBI agent, he's actually an expert on reading body languages. And people can say many things, but it is extremely difficult to hide what your truly thoughts are actually with nonverbal feedbacks. There actually have been numerous studies on this topic of nonverbal communications, and there has been many results. However, most experts would agree that 70 to 93% of all communication is nonverbal. And having a good understanding of nonverbal communication has not only helped me to understand better the person I was speaking with, but it also helped me to be more aware of what signal or what message I was trying to giving out at that time. So for example, the perception of maintaining eye contact is very different between the East versus the West. In general, in Western cultures tend to value the presence of eye contact, while Eastern ones tend to see eye contact as a form of disrespect. And anyway, I am originally not from here, I'm from Vietnam. So coming from an Eastern country, we were taught in school not to maintain eye contact because you may have recalled, it is actually a form of disrespect. And people people in the West may be perceiving as not maintaining eye contact as a form of lying, or that you're trying to hide something, or some people say, oh, you may have some hidden agenda by not maintaining eye contact. So I became very aware of that, even though I did not do it intentionally, but it's just something that I was born with. So this book has helped me with that. It is a very small details, but being aware of these small details will help you build trust with people very quickly. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier. People do business with the people that they like and the people that they trust. And these two things, the Google Translate and the book, and actually there are also many more books you can read. I'm just talking about the importance of book here, but they have given me a very good idea of how the negotiation is going without actually understand much the language besides sì or no. It basically means yes or no in Italian. So and the next point I want to make is to surround yourself, the people that you need to surround yourself with in order to achieve what you want or live the life that you want. So surround yourself with high quality people only. Now, what is high quality people only? Now that is up to you. But for me, you need to surround yourself with people that you can count on. So surround yourself with people that you can rely on if you need them to do something, and the same for you. And in order to surround yourself with people that you can rely on, or reliable people, you need to be able first to keep the agreement or commitment that you make. In another word, you should be able to when you say something, you should do it. You better do it, and then you'll be able to a lot easier to surround yourself with people that do the same, and people that you can count on, and that will be there for you when you need them, and that you will be there for you when they need you. And sometimes, you can also give them a test. So if for example, you can tell them, okay, I need you to be at ABC event because I really need you to be there, and you can see who's going to show up. For those that don't show up, you can cross their name out, because you will find out, by this way, you will find out very quickly how many flaky people are there in your life. And I would try to get all the flaky people out of my life. I cannot stress enough how important this is, especially, again, it comes again to trust, building in people, relationship with people, and business, especially good quality one. And the fact that if you can keep your word, if you say something, you are going to do it or try to best to get it done, is very important. So when I started my business, there were already thousands and thousands of established business in the travel industry in Italy. I mean, Italy is one of the top destinations in the world, and the travel industry there has been very established, and it was a time very difficult to find, to achieve good pricing when you don't have trust or relationship with the supplier. And trust takes time. And when you're new, especially when you're new, and for example, in countries like in Italy, they didn't have the credit rating system. For example, they will not be able to, most of the time, they will not use, oh, I'm gonna pull up and see what your credit rating is, and I'm gonna give you this loan, or I'm gonna give you this delayed payment. It actually works based on either trust, or that you have somebody that introduce you. Okay, can you still hear me? Because they say my connection is unstable. Nadia? Okay, well, I guess I will continue. So
I can hear you. I can hear you very clearly. Sorry, I was on mute, but we can hear you very clearly.
Okay, great. So yeah, it was already an established industry, and it was difficult to get the foot in at the beginning. But I later on found out it's actually not super difficult when everyone around told me, oh my goodness, it's not going to be possible if you're not Italian, if you don't have anyone to introduce you, you don't know anybody. And it comes back to building trust. I didn't have any problem of gaining the trust of the people that I were working with. It was just one simple thing that I did. That was, I always do what I say. And there was a saying, I used to work in sales. There was a saying in our sales meeting, and my manager always said, and I still remember it to these days, and I use it as kind of like my guidance in terms of business dealings. That is, always under promise and over deliver. And that is very, very important. And I understand, of course, life happens, and it's not going to be possible to keep your commitment 100% of the time. But I would try to fulfill as many commitments as you can. So the next one about surround yourself with high quality people is that I would stay away or minimize your time with negative people. So negative people are people that you've seen them at work, you've seen them in life, you've seen them everywhere, because sad news always sell. Like, people love, I don't know, misery, I don't know. So what I mean by that is in work, especially in business, so surround yourself with do not surround yourself with negative people, people that complaining rather than producing. Well, I have been there. I was one of the complaining one. And so I have sabotaged many opportunities. In hindsight, I look back, and many opportunities have wasted because I was very negative, using energy actually negatively of why I cannot make it, rather than think about how I can make it. Was what was I doing for a very long time. And you know what? All of my friends, every single one of the friends that I was with, they were doing exactly the same. Likes attract likes. Wow, what a surprise. So yeah, so what I did, what happened was that I moved from having a very good corporate job in the United States to Italy for a personal reason. And when I found out how hard it was to get a decent job in Italy with a decent income there, I threw myself a pity party every day for a long time. And all my friends were the same. So wow, this is normal, isn't it? And then one day, actually, I decided to distance myself from those friends. And I have to consciously make a conscious effort to monitor my inner conversation, because then at one point I didn't have any friends because I was backing away from all the negative friends. So I was monitoring my own inner thought and learned to be my own boosters, and actually worked out quite well for me. And the third point, sorry, I'm trying to make is that how to do proper market research. We can of course go into great details about this for 10 hours, but I'm gonna just go over some of the pitfalls of do and don'ts when it comes to market research. First of all is to please do share your ideas. It sounds funny and it sounds very basic, but to be honest with you, I've met so many people and I asked, oh, so what are you doing? And then they say, well, I have a business idea, but I cannot share it because I don't want people to steal it. And I guess, you know, at one point I was there too. So I cannot blame them. So I got it. I can totally imagine it. But having started up a few businesses, and this one worked well, but I have a few others that didn't work out. I can tell you that it is so much work. You're not going to work 40 hours a week. You're probably going to work 80 hours a week to make it work. It is so much work. So let them steal it. Whoever wants to steal it, they can steal the idea, because I can guarantee you they are going to give up. 99% of them going to give up. 99% of them not going to do anything. And even if they decide to do something, they may give up halfway through. I'm going to give you some numbers later on and go about how difficult it is to execute it. So it's not about the idea. There's millions, zillions of ideas every day. And it comes down really to execution. And even if they steal it, and if they become successful, and then later on they become your competitors, it actually could be a good thing, because you know what I think? I think competition is healthy, because without competition, you will not be trying to be better. And if you're not trying to be better, you will not grow. And if you don't grow, then you will not be happy. So competition is good. So let them steal it if they want to steal it. Another mistake that people make is that they only talk to friends and family unless they are your, they only talk to friends and family. And I'm saying to you, unless your friends and families are your target market, I would, expand the market research a bit. I mean, sure, ask them what they think, but I would not stop just friends and families. Most of us who have friends and family, and they want us to succeed, they want us to do well, and they want to encourage us, and they don't want to hurt our feelings. So sometimes they may not give the feedback that you really want to hear. And also, they are not usually the best sources for your research, because one, they're not your potential client, and two, most of the time your friends and families don't know anything about business or marketing. Well, if they do, then you know that's an exception, but most of the time they don't. So that's why you don't want to just ask them. And to get the information you need, you actually need to do research with real customers. So what I would do is I would build a minimum viable product and get it out there as soon as possible to test the market with your sales strategies. Listen to what they want, the customer wants, and their expectation, and about something that they're willing to pay for. And which take me to my, my last point here about the market research mistake, is that a lot of people only use research on the web. While it is good, but a lot of time it can be outdated. And the information, you can miss out on a lot of other factors relevant to your business. So the information may not be fully accurate. So you want to have different ways of obtaining data of how to accurately understand whether or not this product's going to work or not, your sales marketing strategy is going to work or not. The biggest mistake of all time is actually not having done any market research at all. Some people just woke up just one day and they say, wow, I have this great idea. Well, great, you have that great idea, but how many people are willing to pay for that great idea? That is the important thing, because yeah, a business needs to make money at the end of the day. So the next one I want to talk about is financial planning. And one of the important one is to manage your expectation. So my background was in finance, my previous life, and I had an opportunity to look at some business plans of some startup, and they were very optimistic. They said, well, we are gonna make money in the first 6 months. That is very, very optimistic. I'm gonna go over some numbers with you in just a bit. That's very optimistic, and that is great to be optimistic, but I always think like this. Think about worst case scenario, think about, of course, the best case scenario, and think about the worst case scenario. and what are you going to do about it, if you have a backup plan for it. So always think in those two terms, not only being overly optimistic about it. Now the majority of the business on average do not start turning profit until the third year. So that is a long time. You may be working for 80 hours a week for many, many years, for 2 years. Sometimes it feels like forever, for 2 years. And it may make a profit in the third year. You may feel like giving up. It may never make a profit at all. So here are some numbers. 90% of new startup fail. That is 90, not 19, 90. As 75% of venture backed up startup fails. Out of the 10% startup that survive, under 50% of business make it to their fifth year. 33% of startup make it to the 10th year mark, and only 40%. So out of those that survive and still operating, 40% of startup actually turn a profit, only 40%. And 82% of business that fail do so because of cash flow problems, which take me to my next point. When I started my business, this is not the first one that I started. I started others and it fails. And my story isn't the only one. If you looked at a lot of the stories of the entrepreneurs, the news only cover their success story. They never covered how many times have they failed before in order to get to where they are. So failures can be good, but at the same time, you may want to put a deadline on how long it would take or how long you're willing to work on it before you decided to try another idea. So have a clear visions of that, and a logical reason, not an emotional decision. It is very easy to make an emotional decision because you work on it for so long, you want it to work, and you don't want to let it go. When it's losing money for consecutively 1 year, that is not good at all, unless you have money to pump into it, but I highly don't recommend it. So have a clear vision of how to do it, and if you are funding it with your own money, then it really depends on how much money you're willing to put into it and what plans you have for it. But if you have a small amount of money, like when I did, actually I didn't put a single euros or pounds into the business. I wanted to make sure that it works at some point, because you either have time or you have money. Or sometimes people are very lucky and they have both. And at that time, I had a lot of time. So I tried to learn everything, and every single things from website design to customer service to reaching out to suppliers. I did it all. But I did put a time limit on how long will I test this idea for before it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, I will move on to the next one, because sometimes it's just not meant to work. Not at that time, and maybe not under my management. So it takes me to my next point, that is very important, to write down your financial planning, what you're planning on first year, second year, your costs, your expenses, if you have any, or your profit, your predictable profit. And I will write them all down, and I could put, of course, some Excel models here, but it will put you to sleep. So anyway, if you need help with this, you can definitely contact me later for help. But please don't quit your daytime job, because a lot of people do this. They quit their daytime job because they listen to all these stories. And again, the news, a lot of times they don't cover everything. They cover only the really success stories, people that made it, and they didn't cover out of that over 90% and how many people have failed and never made it. So it is not as simple as it look, and you're gonna put a lot of work into it. And please don't think going in to open a business going to you will only work 2 or 4 hours a week. A lot of books will tell you this, and yes, you may be able to work 2 or 4 hours a week after you work really, really hard for many years for your business. And if it's successful, then you don't really have to work for it. But at the beginning, you have to work a lot for it, definitely. So please don't quit your daytime job until your business give you a livable wage, and whatever livable wage is for your standard. Either that, or you have already at least 1 year of saving to cover all your bills. Some even suggest 2 years, just in case. I'll suggest 3 years, because, for example, with the pandemic at the moment, you just never know. And the next point is also quite important, last but not least. Actually, now is the best time to start a business. So a few things, because first of all, you have a lot lower barrier to entry, which means your cost to entry the market will be a lot lower, because many businesses find themselves out of business. This is for you a good opportunity to buy or take advantage of the marketplace, and even buy some business, existing business. It is a very, very good time for this reason. So competition is lower because you will not have as many competition as before. Number two is that the top talents, accessible to top talents, because many people are out of jobs at the moment, and it's a sad thing. However, if you look at it in this way, that it is, yes, it's bad for these top talents, some top talents even out of work. It actually could be good news for business, because usually these top talents are very expensive, but now you can hire better people without the premium price tag. So that's how I see it. The next one is with all this going on, you have a lot better negotiating power with more businesses looking for more customers. You actually, it's a good time for you to negotiate a better time and lower prices right now. So after my presentations today and some stories that I've learned along the way, and my point about why it is now a great time to start a business, there are many people, I'm sure, that still will complain that they don't have money to start a business or do what they want in life. Please do not let that stop you. I was born in Vietnam, a third world country. I was born into a war-torn era and came from a poor family. So my parents' income were lower than the minimum wage by any Western standard. But that did not stop me from wanting to study, wanting to go study abroad in the United States, which is a country, I don't know if you know, they have an eye-wateringly high tuition rate. That is hundreds times of an average income of a Vietnamese. Nor did the language barrier stop me from starting my own business to live the life I always wanted. So with that being said, if you are not living the life that you want to live at the moment, or if your life is not giving you what you want it to be, I hope my story has served as a reminder of everything is possible when you have a clear vision of what you want to do and refuse to give up. And that is all.
Well, I think a round of applause for Holly. Unfortunately, because we're in Zoom, you're only going to hear my hand for it. That was wonderful. I can tell you're full of energy and full of positivity, and I love to hear you speak. So we'll open there. Joanne wrote, "Amazing girl." Can you see that? Joanne wrote, "You're an amazing girl."
Oh, thank you, Joanne.
Well done.
And Kumar wrote too. So who would anyone like to ask a question?
Uh, yes, I do. Hi, Nadia.
Go ahead. Hi, Carlo. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yes, I would like to ask. I think it's the very last thing you said, Holly, is it's very important to have a clear vision. I fully agree with that. So the point is, how do you create a clear vision if you don't actually have one? Like,
okay. Okay. So what I meant by that is everyone vision is different. Some person vision is just to retire early. Some people vision is to have just a extra few £1,000 a month or like £1,000 a month into their income to afford an extra airplane ticket during Christmas. Some people vision is to become a millionaire or become a billionaire. So what is your vision? So what I'm saying by that in the simplest term is that what is your financial goal? Because at the end of the day, that if you want to start your business, I guess that is very important. The business needs to make money. So what is your financial goal? And you work toward that.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
Okay, and I mean, of course, if you have any more questions, I'm one of the participants under this conference call. I'm sorry, Zoom call under the name Holly. Right now, my name is a little bit different. But anyway, so you can write to me as well, and I'll be happy to answer or help you with any other questions you may have.
Thanks, many thanks.
Any more questions?
Hi, Holly. I don't have a question, but I'd just like to make a comment.
Yes?
I think you've had it a lot rougher than you laid out. You've been listing off recipes for success. And as you say, most of these recipes you can read elsewhere and other people have done them. I think it would have been very interesting to hear the real problems you had in detail, the problem you had, and against the difficulties you had, how you overcame them. A little bit more of the Holly story, not the generic story.
Oh, okay. Well, so I said one of the stories was about the language barrier. It was very difficult to overcome.
The body language and how you overcame with that was fascinating. That sort of story, how specific problem, language, and you overcame it studying body language. That was fascinating.
Well, there are a lot of problems, and I don't want to make it sound negative to discourage people, but yeah, it's normal to have problems in business. And it's normal to have competitions, but I think as long as you continuously invest your time into bettering your product, always listening to customers, it is all going to be fine. So in a very short period of time, so I have a tour agency. In a short business of a very short time, I was able to, in one of the cities where I was based in, so the business has grown to be one of the top in the category of food and drinks. Food and drink excursion. I can't even speak English now. Food and drinks excursion in Venice. So I'm just gonna say in Venice, and then it's expanded to other cities. But again, it all comes down to trust, hiring good people, which I didn't mention here because this is also another very challenging point, and I don't want to discourage people from starting up anything. Hiring good people is very, 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 very important. So it comes down to those. Again, having do what you say and provide quality, basically provide what the customers are looking for. And the customer always go first. You always listen to what the customers say. And that's what I did before I put a money sign to it. Maybe we can do another session on my problems.
For example, you said that to let people copy you. If somebody tries to copy you, let them copy you, and then so they will probably fail. So it would have been nice that you obviously got a story in there somewhere. So maybe next time let us know the story.
Yeah, so yes, actually I do have a story about that. But I mean, of course, they will not always fail. Sometimes they succeed. But in my case, the one that copied me, they failed. But because they said, well, you know, this is not so much work. But I think three months in, they said, well, you know, this is too much work. So we quit. But like I said, competition is very healthy. I see competition as a way to grow. And without being able to grow, I will not be as happy. And I think many people will not be as happy as well.
Right. Thank you very much, Holly.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions?
Yeah, I would actually like to ask the question. I mean, like, I guess many of us are here to, you know, listen about your story. And I think many of us have some ideas in their head about, you know, what they want to do, what they want to pursue. Mm-hmm. What triggered you from changing for a daytime job to actually getting started? Because I think that's a very difficult decision in the end.
What triggered me to start?
Yeah, basically, yes. Yeah.
Well, I just for very simple reasons. I want to be able to live anywhere in the world without being able to stuck in a locations. So, and I cannot do that with a normal corporate job. So I have to start a business on my own that enable me to manage it remotely. And now I think with the COVID, a lot of time people who have corporate jobs, you can work from home, but maybe you can also be in some mountains or in some other places and work as well. But it's not normal like this. Usually I think most of the time is the people that have their own business that they can manage it remotely, that can do this. And it is the lifestyle that I like.
Okay, so you just pursued your goals, basically, right?
Yes.
Well, I find it difficult to leave the safety of a corporate job behind, to be honest.
Well, it is very, very difficult to leave the safety of the corporate job behind, because that's how corporates designed. They have many psychologists and they have many top HR personnel to work on this. They always have these incentive plans, just enough to make you feel like you're on the treadmill the whole time. And that's how I always compare it to on the treadmill. Because when you run on a treadmill, usually you want to stay a little bit longer, and you don't get off the treadmill. And that's how corporate design the incentive plans. And that's how they keep people staying there. But again, I think if you wanted to start something, if you have about a year or 2 years of saving, and if your business start gaining some traction, you can quit your job, because if it has enough traction for you to have the life that to live on that income. Because a lot of time I meet people and they say, well, I own a business, and then they say, well, I made like £500 last year, and £500 is great, but £500 a year or £5,000 a year even is not a business, it is a hobby. So we have to distinguish between what is a hobby and what is a business. Because if it's not a livable wage, it is not a business. And as a matter of fact, I met also many people who went into business and then wanted to go back to their corporate job or some other jobs, because if you have to work 80 hours a week, maybe more because it's your business, and you, yes, have a livable income, but you're struggling, I don't think it's a fun way to live either. but again, it's personal opinion. Some people like it and some people don't. So if that's the case, then yes, maybe having a corporate job is better. And everyone has a different skill set. What I did was for my employees or for people that I work with, I always hire people where I have the weaknesses at. So I know what my strengths are, and I know what my weaknesses are in work, and I have too many of them. So I hire people that work with people that complement those weaknesses of mine.
All right, thanks.
Yes. Any more questions?
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm curious, the people attending, you know, anyone, I did ask, anyone thinking of starting something? Oh, Henrique has his hand raised. Henrique, go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for the presentation so far. I have a question about, you mentioned business plan, no?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
I don't want to make it complicated, no? But it can be a bit overwhelming, no? The thing with what is a business plan? What did you do in your case? Could you tell us about?
Yeah, so like I shared before, what I have, okay, let me just say also that I have a master in business. I have an MBA. Not that it meant anything, but it actually helped me. I wrote a lot of business plans in my college years. So though are imaginary business, of course, but these are the real business. So having a clear vision of where your business goes is very important. I would say that having a clear vision of who your customers are is very important, because a lot of time the new business would say everyone is my customer. No, not everyone. If they say everyone is their customers, I would say you haven't done your market research. Not everyone is going to be your target market. So studying your target market is very important. Financial planning is very important. Your sales channel is very important, and it's going to be different for each industry. So before this, just right before this, I tried drop shipping because those are another business that didn't require any money down at all. I failed, obviously. I closed it down 6 months, but those are different target market. Those are different sales channel than what I'm doing now. And if you need help writing a business plan, so you have a business idea in mind, you can definitely contact me through the intonation. I'm one of the attendees of this event under the name Holly, or Nadia can give you my contact, because yes, a business plan is definitely quite long, 20, 30 pages, depending on what industry that you're looking into.
Okay. Well, if any contact, if you want to put your contacts, website, any details, we can do it on the event and send it to all the attendees. But you're
okay,
also
that's
welcome.
Great.
You're also welcome to just if you want to type anything in the chat as well. You're welcome to.
Okay, so I'm gonna type my personal email in here because okay, how do I put this? Ooh. Anyone else have questions?
Let's see who's with us still now.
Well, I don't have a question. Sorry?
Yes, true.
Yeah, I don't have a question, but I have to say your drive is fantastic. I mean, obviously, I think if you want to do your own business, you've got to have the drive and the determination, and it can show when you speak. And another thing I think which was very good to hear is that yes, people can try to copy you, but basically, when you put the bar very high, you're always a step ahead. So, and this is it. I think it's when you said about customers. I guess that the customer service has to come to the forefront of the business when you want to succeed. It's what I understood there, and
Yes.
it showed very much. So, thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining. Anyone else have questions?
Hi, Holly. Nice to meet you. I'm Hyunju.
Hello.
Thank you for your presentation. It was very inspiring. I wanted to ask you if you have any experiences, a story to tell, overcoming your lack of knowledge in starting a business in a new industry or new field.
Yes. So one of the points I made in the presentation was reading books. Books and again, books. You're gonna find, I'll be more than happy to recommend you some good books as well. I'm not trying to I'm not getting any percentages from any of these books, but some books may help me and it may not help you. So just read a lot of books. And I sound like very textbook, but books are there for books. Oh my goodness, I can't speak enough about how important readings are. A lot of the problems are found, can be found in the books. So that's how I overcame it. And the second one is failures. So I would not be afraid of making mistakes. So just try not to make the mistakes when it counts. So a small mistake made along the way, but even if you make a huge mistake, again, I always think about worst case scenario before I make a major decision. And my next question would be, would I be able to live with this worst case scenario? So because I'm not, some people are a huge risk taker and some people are not a big risk taker. I'm not a big risk taker. So if my answer is no, I'm not going to be able to live with this. If it's going to turn this way, I'm not going to be able to live with it. Then I'm going to try to make another decision. But do not be afraid of making mistakes because mistakes, it helps build competence and competencies help build confidence later on. So that's what that's what I think is all about, books, and don't be afraid of making mistakes.
Great. I think I found my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So, Holly, I have a question.
Yes.
If I'm not a risk taker and I don't like to read books,
okay.
so is this possible that I can be a good businessman?
Okay. Yes. If you don't like to read books, can you listen to books?
It's a good one.
I can listen to you, but not books.
Okay. Well, okay. There's this app called Audible. They are way better than me. They are read by actors and actresses. So if you don't like to read book, I suggest to listen to books. Now, if it's not what you like, then I suggest to go to seminars, courses. But it is going to be a lot easier, I think. Well, not I think, a lot less because seminars also cost a lot of money to go to. Some of them can cost upwards of thousands. Actually, research show that there are most of, as I explained in my talk, a lot of CEO reads 15 books a year on the average. And I'm not saying that you have to read books. That's the way that I went about it. I think that probably the other way would help is seminars. And of course, sometimes people just have that in them. They're just natural. They're just natural entrepreneur, and they don't need to read any books. But I wasn't natural. I wasn't that smart compared to many people I know. Actually, I'm not smart at all compared to anyone I know. But there's a saying that I will tell you that stick with me till these days. That is, hard work beats talents when talents don't work hard. So if you put a lot of hard work into it, I'm sure that it's not impossible to have a successful business.
I don't agree that you are not a smart woman.
Okay, well, thank you.
Because you said that you didn't have a language, Italian language, but you remember some sentences and then you were able to get along with that, you know. So that's a smartness.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because I think just memorization is different from repeating a sentence is different from intelligence, but thank you very much.
Holly,
Yes.
which books did you find useful when you were starting out?
Okay, so one of them is, and still to this day, I go back to them a lot. That What Everyone is Saying by Joe Navarro, the one that I recommended before. The next one is Negotiate as if your life depends on it. Is very important for that I find super useful, and I still go back to this very day to read very often. And I could give you a list of a lot of others books as well, but people skills are very important in business, and these two I find it very important. And also it depends what field you're going to go into. For example, if you want to do marketing, you want to do social media, I don't know if so the book that I read when I was, so let's say 2016, is not going to be viable now for 2020. So later on, I hire a social media manager, but depending on what field you're in, and sometimes by the time that we get to when the book gets published, the knowledge is already outdated, especially in the tech field. But in terms of these nonverbal communication, that will always be the same studies. The negotiation is human psychology, will always be the same study. So I really recommend these two books.
Thank you.
Yes. Any more questions?
Hello, Holly.
Hello, Peter.
Thank you for the introduction. I have a question. How do you think this direct selling business models like Amway sort of a thing as a business? Because recently I discovered a holiday membership club which do direct selling, and it's quite attractive to me, and because I go for holiday anyway, and also I can make money from it. So it sounds too good to be true, but I had a similar feeling from beginning. And the reason I want to ask, because I'm not sure if you have a similar experience with this type of thing in the past.
Well, you mentioned Amway, right? And
Amway, it called World Ventures, the holiday one. They are similar business model.
Okay, so if I remember it correctly, it's a pyramid business model, right? So you have
That's
somebody.
True. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think if you can build your own pyramid, it's great. But if you're gonna be working for somebody else, above you, and then the 10 people above you. I think for make a side income is okay, but
Yeah.
to it depends how much income you want to make. But to have it as a sustainable business, I don't think so. I'm gonna tell you, before I worked all of this, actually I used to sell Mary Kay. Now Mary Kay, I got out of college, and Mary Kay is a makeup company, and they do parties, events at people's houses, and they sell makeup to women. And I think Mary Kay herself has a wonderful business setup. I joined it because there was a gap between, I was waiting to start my job. So my job started in August and I graduated in June. So I have a month gap. So I said, okay, well, let's do something. And while I don't think that if I continue Mary Kay, it will give me a livable wage or not the lifestyle that I wanted, but I learned a lot from Mary Kay. I learned very good sales training. I learned how to deal with people. So it just depends what you want from it. And definitely even that it didn't make me enough to pay rent at that time, but I learned a lot from it. And some of it I can still use to this very day. It is some transitional skill that you learn. I don't think that there's nothing to lose in that. But again, if your focus is income, I don't think that it will be sustainable in the long term.
Understand. I think the main nature is you need it or not, or any others need it or not. I think like a holiday is slightly different from, say, nutrition products. I think that's because I need it anyway, so I take it as a side. But once I discover more, then I find it's better by my other businesses. That's making me very confused.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for your suggestion.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, I have a question about Joe Navarro. You said about this former profiler from FBI. Yeah, which kind of books you recommend to us to read about this guy?
Okay, so the name is What Everyone Else Is Saying. This book was actually also read by a lot of lawyers and judges in court as well. It is one of the best-selling books. I will put the book, I will put the name of the book on here on the chat, or I will send it out somehow, so you have the name.
Thank you very much.
Is there any questions that we have?
Oh, I think they asked you a lot of questions, Holly, and you did an excellent job asking everyone's question. I would just like to say thank you. Someone's saying thanking you for organizing. Daniela, I think it was. Anyone at this point, before we say good evening and wrap it up, anyone would like to make any comments? Anyone would like to talk about anything that was happening with them right now at the moment, or maybe offer any tips or advice? Okay.
May I would like to quickly just make one statement which I have learned from my experience from my 2 startups.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So thank you for your grateful insights. I much cherished each and every line which you spoke of this evening. You know, for me, what business and what startup and what entrepreneurship is all about is business is nothing but a common sense. I'm repeating, business is nothing but a common sense, and common sense is nothing but a very rare, seldom sense. That sums up everything.
I love it.
Because so many billionaires and millionaires, we keep reading about the biographies and everything. many from my country, India, they were illiterate people. They were filling petrol at petrol pumps. They were kind of riding the, the horse cart. Mm-hmm. And today, with only mere of their common sense, what was lacking in the market, what pain point people were trying to figure out, just by, doing a little bit of permutation and combination, they kind of had a roadmap, they had a business plan only with their common sense. Nothing strategic or nothing like 10-page pitch deck or something. And, they started their journey and they kind of conquered milestones after milestones. So that is what I have learned, that degrees from Ivy League universities will not take you anywhere. Only with your hard-learned experiences and with your common sense, you can really conquer the culmination in your startup entrepreneurial voyage.
Well, yeah, I agree with you on that. But sometimes I feel like some common sense are not so common. So
that's why I said it's a rare sense.
I would like to ask Surbihi. I hope, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I'd like to ask you. I'd like to make a comment and ask you a question. The comment, if Holly doesn't mind, but actually when you were talking about Ivy League universities, there was a book that was written about the Forbes 500, the 500 richest people in America. So we're not talking about India. And one thing that the book said, the probability that someone on this list went to an Ivy League university or didn't go to university at all was exactly the same. So you could be one of the 500 richest people in America and not even have gone to university. It wasn't detrimental. Maybe some of them had gone to Ivy League. It neither helped nor hindered. Let's put it that way. The question to you is, it's interesting, you said you have 2 startups. Would you mind if we asked a little bit about them? Like what field are they in, or you could tell us a little bit?
Absolutely. So currently, everyone here, we are into manufacturing and exports of sustainable, eco-friendly, recycle, home utility functional products. And something like what you see in Zara, Target, all these stores, like we are tackling the global pain point, which is, and making these upcycled products made out of waste. We are tackling the problem of plastic, metal, wood, glass, and making beautiful products out of those, like rugs or pottery or baskets, to name a few. And in addition to that, what we are doing, that we are kind of enriching and enlightening the rural women artisans and girl child of my country, on which their livelihoods are totally dependent. So sustainability here to me does not only means that we are kind of incorporating only the raw material. Sustainability also means that you are kind of, employing the underprivileged section of the society, and you are trying to bridge the gap of gender equality, being inclusive, and also, bridging the inequity gap in terms of salary, right? And also trying to protect the heritage art forms, which is on the verge of becoming extinct. So you are kind of, giving so much of employment to these artisans and trying to, elevate their lifestyle. So that is what we are doing. We've adopted more than 10 villages here in India, and more than 5,000 artisans' livelihoods are dependent on us. And some of the European designers also we have on board. They kind of suggest their designs, and we kind of incorporate, and we make some product prototypes and put it back into the international market. So whereby we are trying to lower the carbon footprint and, trying to adhere to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, that is what we are doing.
Well, that sounds absolutely amazing. And we'd love if you told us, not today, maybe do a little presentation for us. I don't know if you'd be interested. I will contact you.
Absolutely. I would be delighted to. I've been looking to kind of, do one session.
No, that would be amazing. We'll talk after. You're welcome to message me with your email, and I will send you my email, and I will message you too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Pleasure to hear from you. So, Holly, are you still doing okay? I know it's supposed to be so tiring.
No, I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine. Yes.
Okay. Well, right now, I mean, we still have some time left. But in the case that there's no one, nothing else to discuss and no one. So for the final time, I invite anyone who'd like to make a comment, share some wisdom, or ask a question before we wrap it up for this evening. Or talk about their own business, their own experience with startups. Is there anyone there in the audience? Eva, would you like to unmute yourself? I saw you raise your hand. Is it Eva or?
Hi, I want to say thank you for sharing your experience and obviously your knowledge. To me, I started a business some time ago, but I had to close it. But through listening to you, I understand where I went wrong. And I'm in a period in my life where I'm considering a change in career as well. And I do agree with you that, there is a wide range of fields in which to explore and find out which you identify yourself with and you are passionate about, because I think it's very important that whatever you decide to do, you're really fully into it, with that fire. And because that is contagious, and people can actually feel it, and it's easier to talk and to reach people at a deeper level as well. And when soon he was talking about, her two businesses in India, I could see, the huge difference, hers, from what I understand, what attracts me the most is that you take into account the side which is more human. It is still a business, but there is humanity in it by, providing the opportunity for other people that normally wouldn't be able to work or showcase their art or their craft. And also the factor, of protecting the environment and the culture. To me, that is very attractive, okay? I am literally, with all honesty, in the process where I'm considering, okay, what I've done. Mistakes, I think they are great opportunities, to learn about yourself, to explore, to discover new things about myself too, which I have, and slowly decide, what path you want to take. So I'm at the point where I'm exploring, yes, and obviously there are things that I'm more attracted to. And I'm sure I will contact you because there were a couple of things that, although I missed the first part of the event, and I'm sorry, I got confused. I thought it started at 6:30. So, that was it. But I really enjoyed it. I've taken notes as well. So that's given me food for thought, and to go a little bit back and see more clearly the areas that I could have done differently. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think about people who start a business on a particular field?
Yes.
It doesn't go well, okay, and they get demotivated. Should they just drop it, or is it okay? Is it wise to reconsider and somehow restart or kickstart it? What is your view about that?
Well, I mean, it really depends on the what happened. So it happened because there are too many competitions that you don't have the fun to make yourself stand out, or what happened then and what happened now. So that it depends. If you want, you can definitely message me and we can talk more about it if you don't want to share so many details yet, because it really depends what happened. Yes.
Yes, I think I know some of the areas where I could have done differently, but to me it's also very important to have passion for what I do, and that passion has been left behind for some reason. I interpret that like, okay, it's a chapter that I perhaps have to close.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but yes. I understand about the being demotivated, because I have been there, because we have so many distractions. Yes. We have so many distractions, so it's easy to get distracted. And when you get distracted from your goal, then you will not be able to achieve as much as you want. So I don't think it is about being demotivated. I think people get demotivated because you don't achieve what you want for a long time. I think that it is that we need to stay focused. If you stay focused, I think it's less likely that you will be you will feel demotivated. Because to be honest with you, I've lived in a lot of where I'm from is a lot poorer country, where people do not have that much money to buy the products. Where are you from, Eva? Were you living in London, or?
I'm living in London, but I'm originally from Spain, and I've been traveling around the world.
Okay, so there's some time I also lived in Spain as well, and as you can see, in Spain and also in Italy as well, the people, no, I don't want to say the people, but I think like here people pay a lot of money for many products. So you're in the UK. There's 60 million populations. If you want to start something in the UK, or you want to start something global, but definitely the purchasing power of the customers or the people here are a lot higher. So that is actually a great opportunity right here.
Yes, I do have to, when you were explaining, I have to recognize that it's not the same, the market, in Spain or in Italy or here in the UK. The customers, are very different. They look for different things, and they are more open to buy or to invest in a different way. So culturally speaking, I do think that we have to take that into consideration. Which I link it to one of the points that you mentioned earlier on about having very clear what our main market is, our target market is. When we understand the target market, then we are able to work on, the best strategies that, we can develop in order to gain that market. But yeah, you mentioned Italy and Spain, and culturally speaking, they are very similar in the way they look at things, and obviously it's going to affect any business. So I wanted to say thank you very much for sharing everything, and definitely I will be dropping you a line, perhaps just being a little bit more specific.
Thank you.
But I'm very, very grateful. I think it's very inspiring to see, how no matter how many difficulties you had and your challenges have been like, bring it on, I'm going to jump over you. So you overcame that, and that's the energy that, is very good for anyone that really wants to, is focused, as you say, because that is the key, and is able also to have that attitude of overcoming challenges and use them in a way that makes you stronger and wiser to do better. So, thumbs up for you.
Thank you very much, Eva. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, great. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry,
no, I was just asking if there's anyone else have questions.
Yeah, people seem to be in need of always encouragement. So yes, please. We're giving you. This is your final chance. If you. By the way, Holly, I just wanted to say, in case I think you may have seen the messages. Everyone was thanking you. They love this talk very much. And I'm sure you're going to be contacted by many people. And in case anyone missed it, Holly will be giving me her website contact details, and I will send them to all the attendees.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Would anyone else like to ask a question, make a comment, share at all?
Well, Nadia, I'd like to make a comment, I think it's, thank you very much for for organizing this, because I think it's great. It's very motivating. It's nice. It brings back things you need to do. I have to say, I'm in I've been working in business development as well for years, you know, bringing new products to new markets and having this challenge. It was not necessary for myself, but it was on behalf of companies. And I know how tough it is, but it's good, you know, you like it, but it's nice to hear from others, you know, it's like reminders, you know, of what needs to be done sometimes, because, you know, sometimes we can lose the focus. You're absolutely right. So, and it's good. So all these talks there, it's very, very interesting. I love it. So just wanted to thank you, Nadia, and obviously Holly for this very interesting presentation.
Thank
You're
you, Daniel.
very kind, Daniel, and thank you for always attending.
Well, you know, I love it, you know, so it's why I learned a lot, you know, it's nice, it's good.
And a big thank you to Holly, because I was very lucky. I approached her. She's a very, very busy lady. And I asked her, please, Holly, would you give us a talk? And she was so kind in agreeing, and she was excellent. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Nadia.
Yeah. And you see, Holly, when you say, you know, that you come originally from Vietnam, from a poor background, and to see what you've achieved, I mean, it's great. And I have to say, you know, the way you speak English and obviously the other languages, I'm sure, I mean, it's amazing. So, you know, it's a very good example for many people, you know, just if people say, oh, I can't do it, well, you show that it's everything is possible if you've got the will and, you know, to learn and to get a better person and yeah, it's great.
Thank you, Daniel.
About common sense, I just remember that. And it made me laugh because it reminded me of my granddad. When we were little, he used to say, children, always make use of common sense. And we didn't understand. We were like 5, 6, 7, but he repeated that constantly. And later on in life, he told me, Eva, come here. I have something important to tell you. So obviously, granddad, I went there. And he said, you know what? Always use your common sense. But I just realized one thing. Common sense is the least common of all senses nowadays. That's how everything is the way it is. And I was like, oh, granddad, okay. I say yes to everything he said. But, you know, now I understand quite a lot of things I didn't understand back then. So you see, common sense is very important, but it's not as common. It's true.
It's like in business, you see, I mean, basically, you know, there are values like, you know, respect people and really treat people the way you'd like to be treated. You know, and this is very important as well. I mean, you know, if you want a good service, basically you need to provide a good service to people. And afterwards, I think it's, in business, some people tend to take shortcuts, you know, to make a quick buck, as they say in the US, etc. Don't believe in that. You know, I think it's, you build up things and you build up trust, and it's how afterwards your customers, they really enjoy working with you because they know that when it's an issue, you will be there to sort it. And this is a very important point. I mean, obviously a lot of people tend to, you know, brush away problems and put them under the carpet. I don't know if it's I'm French, so I'm not sure if it's the right expression, but you know, when you deal with issues, because issues always happen, you know, there's something. Now, what can be kind of negative in the start can turn into something very positive if you've handled it quickly, efficiently. And people say, oh, it's great. Oh yeah, I had a problem, but it was, you know, people, no, they looked after that. So these very common sense things, I think, you know, it's a lot of people don't apply them. So
there is no common sense.
Yeah, but it is. I think it makes sense at the end of the day. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you mentioned, you know, in the beginning, how important trust is, to build up trust. And if you promise something that you're going to deliver to your customers, to be the very best, to exceed their expectations. I find it hard to speak in English.
What she said, I've under-promised and over-deliver. Or what were the words you used, Holly? What did you say?
Yeah. Under promise and over deliver. Yes.
Nadia,
Yes, that's right.
I was just going to say this just at the time you said it's exactly that. Exactly, you know.
In mind.
But I think a lot of people do the opposite. They over-promise and under-deliver.
Absolutely.
That's really bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so negative. I don't know if they are aware of that, because you lose respect from the customer, and that doesn't, it destroys trust. For me, trust is like a very expensive vase, you know, where you put beautiful flowers. And when it's broken, even if you want to try to glue it with the best glue possible, you can see the cracks and you just say, no, thank you. I don't want anything. That is me talking as a customer, you know. I believe with a good intention, I approach you and you're delivering a service. I trust whatever you tell me and I go for it. If I'm happy, I'm going to go back to you. And I'm also going to spread the word with you know, other people that I know. So it's a win-win. But why is it that people break promises? You know, I don't think about the negative impact. That's very sad. I think it's one of the big reasons why people are very, it's very difficult to trust, you know.
I know why. I mean, it's not that I know why. Like, I have a lot of examples why. So one of them was, for example, a lot of time in business, when you made, let's say, a commitment to either, let's say your business, let's say my business supplier, and I said, I made this commitment. I am going to pay you this X amount of money. Let's just say 10,000 pounds. Let's just say a number, 10,000 pounds. And because I know my cost is going to be a lot less than 10,000 pounds. But a lot of time what may happen is that something went wrong and my cost became 11,000 pounds. So not only did I not make a profit, but I will also lose money on this business deal. But because I have made this promise, they are my long-term supplier. I am going to pay them that 10,000 pounds. For example, this is the easiest example that I could think of, and it happens so many times, happens a lot. It came down to greed, I guess. So sometimes people see, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose the money. So I'm going to see what I can do. So this is one of the things I did. Like, even if I my year end never lose money. I've never lost money in any year. But this sometimes could happen. And also a lot of time, what could happen is that for example, something happens and the products are not there for the customer, or the service is not there for the customers. You think it from your perspective, but you don't think it from the customer perspective. You think, oh, you have to understand for me because of XYZ happened, so I cannot fulfill my commitment. But then if you try to think from the customer's perspective of why you cannot fulfill it, how it impacts them, then it's gonna be a problem, because they don't care. They pay for the service, they want it today, now. So if you have a problem and if you cannot address it in a fair way, I don't think that customer is going to come back.
I think it all breeds in communication as well, and being able to be open, you know, and understanding also the other side point of view and how they view things. And I do seriously believe that there is a possibility of having a win-win situation for everybody. There's plenty for everyone. So
absolutely. And obviously, particularly when you address the issue on time, you know, quickly, you discuss it. You know, some people say, you know, there's this saying the customer is king. I never believed in that 1 second. Because basically there's a supplier and there's a customer. And the two parties in the contract have to be happy with this. So, you know, it doesn't go just one way. You know, it's like No, really. And afterwards, when you build, as you say, when you build this trust relationship, you know, it's great. You know, I've worked in business, for instance, quite interesting in the paper business for a long time ago. You know, there are cycles. You know, sometimes things go up and people says, oh, you know, they beg you to buy your products because there's a short supply. And afterwards, you know what? There's an oversupply, prices drop, you need to sell your product. So obviously, if you've treated people fairly in the first time, you know, and be very, again, fair with your commitments in the past, etc. When you need, you know, your customers really to buy your products, they will remember it. They said, yes, actually, it's true. Yeah. So it's always, you think long term, you know, you treat people fairly.
You are mute.
Yeah, sorry. I would say it's not a miracle which happens, but it's really, it's like it's a trust, and people are appreciative. So it's just a little experience from my side. I don't know if you can relate to this, perhaps in your businesses.
It's like a tango. It needs people, and they need to in order to enjoy the dance, they need to be synchronized and understand each other to perform a beautiful dance.
Absolutely, you said it. You said the word win-win. You know, you see, obviously, a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's easy. Oh, I'm win-win, etc. But afterwards, it's walk the talk. So again, people are very good salesmen that tell you everything, but afterwards, they don't really mean that, or you can see it. So again, it's what you said about trust. You know, sometimes it's just a little thing. People just renegade on a commitment, but you think, oh, I don't know. But then there's a little alarm in your says, oh, and afterwards you see it a second time, and then you know that it's not.
That's not funny.
Again, you know that. You learn from things.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we all learn.
Well, exactly. So
we all go through that, I suppose.
Well, you see, we all make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's we're saying, you know, we fail things, but we learn from that. You know, okay. I mean, basically, what we want is if we made a mistake, not to make it twice, and really not 3 times, because then we get in trouble. You know, just that. But if we never try, we will never succeed. This is true as well. So this was it from my part. Sorry. Anybody else? You are muted, Nadia.
Oh. Nadia,
I'm sorry, I'm talking. Oh, sorry, I was talking. I'd like to say, before we say goodnight to everyone, I see Elena has her hand raised. Elena, would you like to say something? Elena Quintas Gonzalez.
You're muted.
Yes. Thanks, Holly. Thanks, Nadia. Very interesting, very inspiring. And I have to say that I'm not very agree about Danielle about the customer is not right, because I work in tourist industry for 15 years and I got a master degree in tourism, and I used to have a travel agency in Spain. And I think customer is the most important part in this industry, because is the goal, is the who is going to pay your bills. So because my experience, I mean, you have to treat the customer and you have to deliver it, because they don't care if you have an issue or you explain the problem. Some people, they might be a bit understanding, but most of the people, they just want the service right now. So that's my opinion. Thanks very much.
And with that, I'd like to thank Holly very much for all her time and for all the wonderful information and tips she shared with us. I'd like to thank very much everyone for coming this evening and sharing also and participating. And
thank you.
Before we say goodnight, Holly, would you like to say anything?
No, thank you so much, Nadia, for giving me these opportunities to invite me to speak today. Thank you.
Well, thanks. And with that, we wish you all a lovely evening and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you,
Bye
Nadia.
for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.